Hi there, welcome to the Riley Strain case. Today we're looking at some of the latest news on it in regards to a family friend revealing a huge development in the death investigation of Riley. We're going to see what it's all about, look at the article, look at the information. For those that are currently here in this live premiere, welcome. Be sure to share your thoughts and opinions of what you think about it, your own experiences, your own thoughts. If you have heard about and covered this case, researched in the past, and feel free to leave some comments down below. We're just going to get straight into the article now and see what it's all about. Here we are, you see the title, Riley Strain case, family friend reveals huge development. According to a family friend of Riley Strain, who was found dead March 22nd, his loved ones have spoken to the last person who taught to the University of Missouri student before he went missing. We scroll down, there's a photo. On the left, Riley Strain's final hours. We'll just read this. Riley Strain, 22 years old, a business and financial planning major at the University of Missouri, was among a big group of Delta Chi fraternity brothers that arrived in Nashville by bus on Friday, March 8th. They checked into the Tempo Hotel on Rosa L. Parks Boulevard, a short walk to the nightlife on Broadway. And what's this bit? Chris shared during March 19th, the family was getting an assist from, I don't know what that is. In quotes, we appreciate more than you'll ever know the outpouring that we've received from the community, from the press and everyone else involved, he said. Our goal is still to bring Riley home. We feel that it's still a very viable goal. We feel like David Flagg, National Director of Operations for the UCN, his team and the volunteers that knows are very skilled and will help bring this for us. MNPD Sergeant Robert Nielsen also stressed to the media that they were continuing to follow up on tips and doing everything they could to find Riley. On March 20th, the Chatham County Sheriff's Office oversaw what they described as a basic shutdown at the Chatham Lock and Dam, where the Cumberland River flows into Chatham Lake. In connection with the search, investigators sifted through debris that subsequently floated to the surface, according to WKRN. Riley's dad, Ryan, was also out on a different part of the river that day, the station reported, on a boat with the United Cajun Navy. In quotes, I've got to be here, he told WKRN. I've got to be on the water. I wanted to be on the water last week, and we had some other family members that took that role today. But I'm glad to be out here because I want to be here. I want to be the one that finds him. Fair enough. I mean, in the words of that individual, it's kind of similar to the Dylan Brown's case, the parents wanting to be the one that brings, their son or their daughter, whoever, back home. Understand? At 7:28 a.m. on March 22nd, a local worker called police to report seeing a body in the Cumberland River in western Nashville. Metropolitan Nashville Police Chief John Drake said at a press conference later that day. The Davidson County Medical Examiner's Office positively identified Riley, but his black and white shirt and other identifiable objects on the body, including a watch, also indicated it was him, according to the chief. In quotes, I want to say to the family, my heart and prayers go out to you all for this very unfortunate and tragic incident, the chief said. I also want to say thank you to the Nashville community and the outpouring of support from the community in trying to help us locate Mr. Strain. Factoring in his height and weight, investigators had estimated when and where Riley's body might surface if he'd gone into the river. This is the 14th day, chief explained, so we're really expecting any time soon to find him. So we were in the right spot. It's just unfortunate. So is that talking about the amount of days spent Riley being in the water, submerged, and then once it gets past to a certain day, that's when the body floats up to the surface? If so, I think that might be a reference what people were getting at when it came to Hobo Shoestring, missing for over a week and found in Boone Lake, Tennessee. It goes on here to say, he said there was no other evidence to suggest anything other than that Riley fell into the water. Riley's dad, mum and stepfather all wore green, his favourite colour, to police headquarters that afternoon, according to WKRN. Speaking to reporters, Michelle said, I just asked that your mum is out here. Hug your babies tight tonight, please. Please, for me. Just hug your babies tight tonight. Okay. Right, just a quick question. Where Where is the actual... Correct me if I'm wrong. Let me just go back to the top. Family friend reveals huge development. March. Right, so body found dead March 22nd. So what's the actual huge development in between? Oh, anyway. I wonder if there's any other articles. So apologies about that first article. It was a little bit poor in description. I mean, I found an article here which seems to have a bit more depth to it, which is obviously good and makes reference to the family friend, I believe. So we'll just take a look at this. Last known person to speak with Riley, Strain gives statement to cops. By Ruth Bashinsky for Daily Mail, 11th April 2024. So Riley on the right, I guess, and then on the left, Chris Dingman. Interesting name. Chris Dingman, a friend of the Riley family, appeared on News Nation's Elizabeth Vargas reports this week. The person was not named, but Dingman said he told the detective his account of the story of what happened to Riley. Dingman called it a huge development in the case and said that there was something we were looking for. Hopefully there's some additional photos as well behind this. Last known person who spoke with Riley Strain, the night he mysteriously disappeared, has given a statement to police, with the young man's family hailing it as a huge development in the case. The body of a 22-year-old University of Missouri student who went missing in downtown Nashville on March 8th after a night out with his fraternity brothers was found nearly 2 weeks after he vanished. Okay. I mean, reading through some of these details may help people on fast track in learning about this case if you've never seen it before. Okay, we're just briefly looking at it. Riley was found without his pants when he was discovered in the Cumberland River in Tennessee. Tennessee. It's interesting that when I think about it, because not long ago I was looking at another case to do with hobo shoestring from Tennessee. Interesting. Anyway, Riley. His wallet and cowboy boots were also missing. Riley's family claims to have conflicting reports from police and don't believe that their son fell in the river. To be honest, I can understand why you'd think there could be some form of foul play, because why would items be missing or items removed from the individual, the victim? You look back at the Dylan Rounds case, okay? Dylan Rounds' boots not on him, taken away, dumped, disposed elsewhere. Why would a person's footwear be taken off and removed? Especially when you're out in the open and it's practical to be wearing footwear. You don't want to be walking about without shoes. You could injure yourself, you could step on something, right? So, I understand. The person who last spoke with Riley was not named, but family friend Chris Dingman, told him. The witness told the detectives his account of the story of what happened to Riley. Dingman called it a huge development. That was something we were looking for. There's a photo of him once again. Yep. There's Riley Strain. There appears to be some photo here, CCTV footage maybe or so. Dingman said last weekend, we found out the detention centre has 3 cameras that they hope to view in finding more answers, okay? The video surveillance from a nearby detention centre may hold the key to Riley's final moments. Dingman said one of the videos from one of the cameras has been made public, but the others have not been available to the family. The detention centre is just north of the last ping on Riley's phone. It was the only video released to the public. Dingman said, last weekend, we found out that the detention centre has 3 cameras that they hope to view in hopes of finding more answers. We'd love to see the footage even though it is with the show's department, he said. We now do have confirmation that there were cameras pointing back towards the bridge where Riley went missing at. Dingman also revealed another stunning development during his interview. The reason that footage is so incredibly important to the family, the person of interest that the family had wanted to see, the homeless person that we knew that spoke to Riley on top of the roadway, we go to talk to the family, he said. He reached out Saturday afternoon and actually gave a statement. Him and another person Riley had stumbled on. They asked him if he was okay. They saw him walk past the detention centre. That was huge, something we had been looking for. The video footage showed that Riley was stumbling in a different direction from the hotel the night he disappeared. Why would Riley be stumbling? Because of alcohol? Because of some other substance? Tired? An autopsy, though, found no obvious signs of foul play, and his death was ruled an accident pending toxicology results. So, is there a possibility of alcohol being involved, stumbling, and then the accident of falling into the water? And, the way your body reacts and, your reflexes and, your survival instincts can go out the window when you're drunk, maybe. There's another photo. The mum, Michelle Strain, white-eyed with son, Riley Strain, before the disappearance. Nashville police searched a homeless encampment on the water's edge after people living there reported having seen the missing student on the night of his disappearance. Michelle Strain left and her husband, Chris, spoke to the media during a press conference to update the public about the disappearance of Riley Strain. Nashville police released this haunting image of Strain walking along the sidewalk after he left the bar as he asked a cop how he was before telling him that he was doing good. Right, leaving a bar, so, right, okay, alcohol. He was found by a worker for a local building materials company that unloads barges at the river. Riley, 22 years old, was wearing his distinctive black and white shirt when he disappeared after being kicked out of a bar in downtown Nashville on a night out with friends. So was Riley kicked out of the bar by himself and his friends remained at the bar? And why was Riley kicked out in the first place? Causing a commotion? Causing a scene? Being boisterous? Too drunk? I wonder. Strain's family ordered a second autopsy as they looked for additional information in their son's death. The University of Missouri student was in the city with Delta Chi fraternity members for their annual spring formal when he was kicked out of the bar just after 9:30 p.m. Riley told his friends that he would meet them back at their hotel, but was nowhere to be seen when the group returned from their night out. So, Riley by himself could be considered vulnerable depending the state he's in, and if he's stumbling along and no one decided to be there for him, things could go wrong. But there's no reason for concern, at least from the past. There'd be no concern right now. But, if you flip it around in a different situation, and if it was a female, let's just put it that way, who might have been a bit drunk or under the influence of some alcohol and were kicked out of a bar, and the friends and the group was still in the bar, and a female was walking back, it could be a different situation. Could lead to additional things as well if it came to males hanging around or whatnot. Things can be different for different types of people, depending. But let's just focus here for now. His friends tried contacting him but received no response, and they reported Riley as missing as they failed to locate him via his Snapchat location. Surveillance footage collected by police from downtown Smoke and Vape Shop on Church Street showed Strain near the intersection of 2nd Avenue and Church Street. The seemingly intoxicated student was wearing a two-tone black and brown shirt, blue jeans, and took a tumble, then quickly got back up and continued down the street. Not looking too good. Now, being honest, if the individual was in no fit state to be making one's way back to the hotel, depending what the route was like, whether it's long distance or short, if it involved crossing roads and stuff, at times when people are drunk, there can either be a danger to themselves or a danger to others, depending how they react and respond. Their reflex, their response time can all be slowed down and impacted, their judgment, their vision impaired. Things can go wrong depending, what type of influence of alcohol you're under and the volume as well, how much you're over the limit. Hence why, if you're behind the wheel, it's not always a good outcome, right? For oneself and most definitely for other people out there on the road. But even just walking back, if you're walking across a field from point A to point B, there shouldn't be many hazards or issues, you would think, right? But then if you're walking down a street or to a river or so, and even like with the CCTV footage, stumbling about, maybe it would have been good if someone was there with him to escort him back home, right? Like, not carry him, but hold him up. I said it depends what state he was in at the time, but if the footage shows him stumbling about, doesn't look good, does it? Anyway, another camera caught near the intersection of Gay Street. Gay Street? Interesting name. And 1st Avenue North just before 10 p.m, taking large strides with his head down as he stumbled through the streets. Now, was there anyone around that came across him besides, the previous encounters? The student had reportedly FaceTimed his mum Michelle that evening, and she said nothing seemed out of the ordinary. Fair enough. Police previously shared footage on X, I assume that means Twitter, showing Riley walking along the sidewalk past an officer who appeared to be inspecting a car with a smashed window. Homeless people living in an encampment on the nearby riverbank reported seeing a man matching Riley's description stumble into their camp. Okay. In quotes, "We heard a commotion. We looked back up. He almost fell over. The last bush right there caught him." An identified man who lives in the camp told WZTV. "He was very, very, very intoxicated." Well, that's not good. "I've never seen anybody stumble that hard before," the man said. So, if he's in that bad of a state, then why didn't none of his friends, take him back to the hotel then? Even if Riley said, "Oh, I'll be fine," shouldn't have been a second opinion, right? Anyway, concerns about the police investigation grew when two amateur sleuths on TikTok discovered Riley's bank card in debris outside the camp. Uh-oh, here we go again. And it's the way to call it, amateur sleuths. I'll be honest with you, the word sleuth is so cringe-worthy. Why can't you just have a normal individual simply looking at a case that just so happens to upload a video online, providing it's done within the right reasons and appropriate nature? But as we know, when it comes to the true crime community, a range of different characters out there online. Nevertheless, a social worker reported seeing a homeless man wearing a shirt identical to Riley's distinctive black and white one days after the disappearance. His involvement appears to have been ruled out after Riley was found still wearing the shirt in which he disappeared. But his family have raised concerns that investigators were not focusing on those people who may have been last to see their son alive. Riley Strain's father, Ryan Gilbert, also told the News Nation that they have not heard much from his son's fraternity brothers. "We haven't really heard much from them," he said. "There's a lot of things we'd like to find out from them." He added, "If I was in their situation, I'd be beating down those parents' doors to tell them everything I could and be helpful in any way that I could." Right. Okay, so fraternity brothers, his group he was hanging out with at the time, they've been a bit cold, a bit quiet recently. Would anyone consider that a bit suspicious? So yeah, when it does come to levels of silence at times, especially those within a case or an investigation, whether it be the ones to last see the individual or speak to the individual or hear from them, proximity, a person of interest, whatever it may be, levels of silence can raise some kind of, suspicion at times, but we don't need to go too deep here right now. It might be the wrong thing to do. But just let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. You think there's anything odd with the brothers, not literal brothers, but the fraternity brothers of Riley at the time being cold and quiet, not really saying too much? Now, take in mind, things could change from when I recorded this video, because I did it earlier on. Things could change from, onwards. We'll see what happens next. But, you think of the fraternity individuals in that bar, and Riley leaves, not in a good state, walking home, walking to the hotel by oneself, not a good situation to be in, and then stumbling along the way, even worse, danger to themselves, could hurt themselves, if not worse, fatal. And that's what supposedly has happened. And ever since that, his fraternity brothers, who were the last to be in the presence of him, or one of the last few individuals to be in the presence of him, have not said anything. Could be about the grieving, right? They don't know what to say or they don't know how to react. But then, I'm sure I've seen it in other cases where, people last see someone have ended up reaching out to the family to try and help or make sense of the situation. And yet this family friend has, reached out more than Riley's fraternity brothers have, from at least how the article was worded. So that's something to put into perspective there, right? But, if it's treated as an accident, let's just put it that way, with certain items being missing, his pants, his boots, why did he take them off? Now, this is the thing. You can understand it from two different sides, okay? During the build-up of this case, trying to understand where he could be at, okay? Maybe just briefly knowing that he might have been drunk and he was by himself, you could think the worst. You think of a homeless encampment, okay? Homeless people. They could get defensive if you stumble across them, or wrong place, wrong time, right? Some can be territorial. I can picture how maybe people in the true crime community really early on started tying one thing with another and applying it as some kind of murder investigation or getting a bit too ahead of themselves. And now you kind of tone things back a little bit because it's been treated as no foul play at this moment in time from the autopsy, okay? But the family is still a little bit, still wondering. What I would say at this moment in time is, okay, it's not treated as foul play, but what about this missing? The pants, what about the boots missing and some other bits and bobs? Why are they missing? Shouldn't they be on him, right? Were they taken from him? Were they lost along the way? I guess one factor you could put into perspective, if the person is so out of it, they're drunk, they're not exactly thinking straight, they're not exactly thinking clearly. Their judgments are poor, decision-making poor, arguably vulnerable. You've seen it just in real life. Drunk people randomly taking the shirt off, taking the pants off, hugging someone. It's certain behaviour what they would normally wouldn't do if they were sober, right? It's just in the moment at the time. They're not thinking clearly. Some people climb a building, other people put a cone on their head. Some people try bunny hopping over a metal pole and sometimes it goes wrong. They face plant the ground and end up in hospital later on. When people are drunk and pissed, they can do silly things, right? They're not thinking clear. Mistakes can be made. Random stuff can occur. And with how it's been worded, Riley, intoxicated, really drunk, well, he could have taken his boots off. He could have taken his pants off, as random as it may be. It can happen. Other people have done worse or more questionable things. It happens when you're drunk, right? So I'm just using that little example to put things into perspective at this moment in time. Of course, if you know more or you know a different side to the story, let's just say, you can add your thoughts on and elaborate down below. You can let me know your thoughts of the entire case. And for those that have covered it or been around in that community for some time, have you noticed anything odd? And just in general, just to get an understanding, because I don't cover too much true crime, right? But when I have, there's been darkness out there. Would anyone say that the Riley Strain case has toxicity within the community or not? Is it okay? Is it stable or not? Let me know down below, just out of interest. So I think we'll leave it there for now. Thanks for watching. Appreciate your patience, and I'll see you next time, whenever that is. Goodbye. Good night for now.